If you don't know who Jacob Wohl is, he's a right-wing fraudster. He and Jack Burkman have ordered to call back robocall victims, and they admit to the messages that they were sending were false and illegal. They're facing felony charges. They could go to jail, and they could go to jail for quite some time. They're in a lot of trouble. Jacob Wohl has been on this show before. This is just an example of some of the things that he's done over the last several years. Do you remember this? He was the mastermind behind this Elizabeth Warren smear campaign back in October 2019. Have a listen to this.
I was booked by Senator Warren on a flight to Massachusetts. I was told to take an Uber to a lobby of the Hilton. Of the Hilton Hotel in Woburn, Massachusetts. I complied with the instructions of my new client, despite being rather nervous. I had to spend time with an older woman many times before, but never a woman over 60. Although I was unaware of it at the time, Senator Warren wanted not just rough sex, but extensive BDSM play.
Okay, so obviously this is a bunch of garbage, and this is what Jacob Wohl, the fraudster, does. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He's back in the news for these robocalls and these victims, and he's facing felony charges and trying to influence an election illegally. Listen to what the judge in court said about Jacob Wohl. This is unbelievable. This is a quote from the judge. The means the defendants used to intimidate voters, though born of fear and similarly powered by hate, are not guns, torches, burning crosses, and other dire methods perpetrated under the cover of the White Hoods. She wrote in the order, rather, defendants carry out electoral terror using telephones, computers, and modern technology adapted to serving the same delirious ends. This judge also went on to make other claims in the context of this lawsuit, making somewhat comparisons to the Klan and the KKK to what Jacob Wohl and Jack Burkman did. Basically, what Jacob Wohl was doing, they were scaring minority voters. I mean, that's what they were doing. What they were doing was completely and utterly illegal. They've already admitted to it, basically. They're facing some charges. They're in a lot of trouble, and Jacob Wohl might be going to jail. Listen, this stuff should have no place in society. Zero. And this is a guy who's tried to make a name for himself. His father is a very wealthy, rich attorney. He's another white privileged boy with a very, very, very wealthy father who happens to be an attorney. Jacob is trying to make a name for himself. But he's trying to make a name for himself for all the wrong reasons, by doing things that are illegal, because he is a fraud. And this is what this kid, because that's what he is, he's a kid. That's what this kid has been doing for several years. Well, guess what? Now this kid is facing some serious jail time along with attorney Jack Burkman. They're in a lot of trouble. If you want to make a name for yourself, you better do it in a legal way. And clearly what Burkman has done is illegal. Now listen, when you're going to get up there and hold a press conference and say that Elizabeth Warren is into sex and bondage with younger men, obviously Elizabeth Warren doesn't care. Would she have a case for defamation? Sure. But at the time she was running for the president of the United States, and I think that's probably the last thing that she cares about and the last thing that she's worried about. But this is at another level. You're not just smearing a politician now. And he's done that over the course of several years. Not just doing that. Now you're trying to coerce and scare minority voters into voting for Donald Trump. And that is a crime. You can't do that. Now, I can go on the air and I could say Donald Trump is a racist, and here's why I didn't vote for Donald Trump. But I'm not going to go on the air and I'm going to say if you vote for Donald Trump, black people are going to enter your home and kill you. I would never say that because, number one, I don't think it's true. And number two, I would be scaring you into doing things, into voting for somebody. But here's the difference. He's making robocalls. This isn't a radio show.
Rather nervous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the difference here. And that's why it's against the law. You can't do that. You can't do that. You want to talk about Elizabeth Warren being into bondage? Okay, it's kind of funny. I'll be honest. It's funny, even though it's not true. It's funny. You're also smearing somebody. Listen, Jacob Wohl, in my personal opinion, is no different than Wayne Allen Kook, who recently put on social media saying that Hunter Biden is a child rapist. That's basically what he was
But
saying.
extensive BDSM play, which
Yeah, exactly. These people are scum of the earth. They're insecure. They're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to get followers. They're trying to get listeners. They're trying to be relevant. Now, if you want to be relevant and you want to work hard in any industry, go for it. Do it. But do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for the wrong reasons. Jacob Wohl has access to a lot of money because his father is very wealthy. If Jacob wanted to be an attorney, he could have been an attorney. If Jacob wanted to be a politician, he could have been a politician. Could have done any of that stuff. He could have been a lobbyist. But Jacob decided to go the route of a privileged millennial and saying things on social media and doing over-the-top things to become famous. Make no mistake about it, folks. That's exactly what this little snot-nose decided to do. And now he's landing himself in court. And now he's probably going to land himself behind bars. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. If he gets 5 years or 3 years or 10 years, whatever he gets, I'm not going to feel sorry for him one bit. And I'm going to tell you something. His father should be ashamed of his son. His father should be ashamed of him because it's an absolute disgrace. Is what this is. It's an absolute disgrace, and it's utterly disgusting. And it's not because he's a Trump supporter. I would say that about anybody on the left or the right. Anybody that uses these types of tactics to not only smear politicians with no facts to back up their opinions, but to go after these voters that might be vulnerable. It's disgusting. It's no different to me, in my personal opinion, the same type of human characteristics than finding a 17 or 18-year-old girl that is homeless and pimping her out and taking advantage of her. Now, that crime may or may not be more serious, but it's the same premise. You're taking advantage of people that are vulnerable and trying to get them to believe your nonsense, all so that Donald Trump could get a few more votes. And Jacob Wohl and his father have been named and congratulated by Donald Trump at some of Donald Trump's rallies. These are the type of people that Donald Trump loves. People that break the law and will do anything to get him elected. And it's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It's wrong. And I am one of those people that believes if Joe Biden had anybody that was doing this, he would call them out as well because it's not right. It's wrong. Period. End of story. Jacob Wohl, I'm not going to say I wish you well. I don't wish you well. I hope this judge who compared you to the Klan, I hope she throws the book at you, and I hope you go to jail for a long time, and your rich, privileged daddy ain't going to be able to bail you out again, my friend. We're going to